Hello, everyone. Welcome to BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today I'm here with my friend and colleague, Miss Francine Gregory. I'm Carolina Austin, and we are the BizChicks. So we want to welcome you to the conversation.
Welcome, everybody.
Because on Mondays, that's when we get into different topics that about our lifestyle, that affect our business, that affect our personal life. And today we're going to be talking about just that type of subject. So, Fran, you want to introduce our subject today?
Well, yes. So, um, I either get some type of thought in the middle of the day, middle of the night that I think is worth sharing. And I read a thought today that I really believe is worth sharing. And the sentiment is that we need to do our own work first.
Mm-hmm.
Do our work first. We all have, we get up, we read bios of other people, we hear their stories, hear their dreams, we pick up the phone, and I don't do a whole lot of scrolling on social media, but we see a lot of people on social media, and we're enamored with their lives, so to speak, and what they're doing and how they're doing it. But we have just as much to offer as those people who we read, right?
Yes.
So what about us? What about our story?
And are we bound by these trends? You know, somebody takes a picture standing in front of a pumpkin, and the next thing you got 50 million pumpkin setters. I don't know.
Right.
you
And
know,
and that's a really good observation. That's a good observation because our TJ talks about it on Tuesday, which you'll hear tomorrow. But she talks about metrics. Vanity metrics are you're doing something so people can give you a thumbs up or a heart or to like your yes.
yeah.
So they're doing things to get somebody to notice them.
Hmm.
Now, all of the other all most of the authors I have read, they wrote something that was on their heart, right?
Mhm.
They
Yep.
didn't they weren't writing it whether you liked it or not. Edgar Allan Poe, did he care whether y'all liked it or not? No.
Well, the thing is, too, the times have changed so much. Everybody can just has the ability to publish what's on their minds with the click of a button.
Right.
Whereas before you had to have an editor and you had to have a publisher and everybody didn't have a printing press.
Uh-huh.
And so, so I think all of this has a little bit to do with why we see this trend. We're not saying it's a bad thing. What we're saying is make sure that you do your work first. Put yourself first before you exhaust yourself or fill yourself up with other people's um,
I
thoughts, ideas, trends.
ex- because you have a unique perspective and we do need to hear it, but we'll never get to hear it if you are just in somebody else's or you're sitting like the little dog with the uh, remember the RCA Victrola thing, the little dog was sitting there and he was always
One ear
listening.
up.
Right. And he's listening at the little music thing or the cone that was on there. he, he was listening at somebody else's voice
Mm,
instead of using his voice.
mm-hmm.
We need to hear your voice. You do have something to say. All we're saying is start using your voice and be okay with hearing your voice first. I
There
tell
you
people all the time, before you start listening in at the news or listening in on somebody else's um, podcast or whatever, write your thoughts for
go.
the day. Write what was important to you that day. And by the way, Apple has a new um, app coming out where you can journal with your
Oh,
iPhone. So
nice.
we'll have more on that on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
But what in this article that I read, the author talked about daydreaming. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, we talk about daydreaming. Daydreaming, people would used to tell us, don't daydream. Stop.
Mm-hmm.
No, do daydream. We need you to dream during the day. And other places in the article, the author spoke about letting your mind work, allowing, let me look it up real, let me, let your mind, uh, hold on, this is good. Um, it's going to be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. You see, you may
Instead
think
of
those
daydreaming and
accounts.
letting your mind wander, let your mind wander and discover
Mm-hmm.
instead of filling up your mind with other people's ideas. Um,
Yes.
uh, some people call it getting lost in your thoughts, which you should. And
He
there
says,
was
I think
something,
it's the opposite. When you take the time to sit alone with your thoughts, you can find who you want to be, not who your parents want you to be, not who your friends want you to be, and definitely not who some shyster on one of the social medias wants you to be. Um, all of you are getting pushed and pulled in a million directions, the author says. You're choosing to give up control of your mind every time you open up social media to see what the influencers you follow are saying. I think he's saying, make sure you know your own mind and be okay with having your own opinion. Be okay with sharing your own opinion. Just make sure it's about you. And this gets back to two things we say a lot on BizChicks, and that is don't forget to go to the front of your own line. And the other is get somewhere and sit down.
mm-hmm,
Get somewhere, sit down, and just let enjoy your own company.
right,
Learn to enjoy your own presence and company and thoughts,
right. Because,
especially in all that's going on right now, friend. We need some peace. And
and
if you
you're
don't,
going to have to make your peace.
it comes from within.
Right. The peace comes with from within. The
Hmm.
peace comes from deciding your day, deciding how you will do the day. There was another article that I read after I read my own stuff, but the article talks about deciding what your response is going to be to something. You decide what your response for the day is going to be. No matter what comes up on that day, you decide what the response will be for the day. You can pre-frame your thoughts before anything comes up. You make up your mind to pre-frame.
You can decide what kind of day is this going to be. Mark
Right.
has some comments over here.
He says, intention rules the world. Write your intention for the day. Be clear about how your success will be measured in that capacity and check in at the end of the day. Ask and you shall receive. And this is done before you start reading the opinions and voices of somebody
Mhm.
else. You do your stuff first. You do your work first. You know, when we were growing up, we couldn't go out to play until we did our work, our homework.
True.
We so I'm suggesting that we do our business work, our work, whether it's mentoring or writing or whatever it is, do our work before we go out and play.
Hmm.
Scrolling social media is play. Now, I didn't say writing your topics for social media is play. I said when we scroll and listen to funny TikToks and Instagram posts and all of that, that's play.
That's entertainment.
This is entertainment. And we should be do your work first, then go and play.
Hmm.
You can play, you should play, but your work first. Get your work done.
Also, I think it's really important what Mark is saying here. Also, write who you want to be. I am adjective that best describes who you want to be today. You
Right.
know, I am beautifully and wonderfully made. I'm excited. I'm happy. I I'm ready to be who I am. I,
I am a wonderful writer. I
mhm,
am
you know
a
what I mean?
author. I am a baker. I whatever.
You get to define yourself and what the day is going to be about when
Right.
you take control of of your day, of your time. And that's not to say that everybody does it at the same time of day. You know, wake up and I got to start my day to, because we get into these things about giving people instructions on how what should be on their routine. Get your routine, but by all means, whatever you do, make sure you make yourself the main player in your life. We had an expression back in the day was this is my life, you're just living in it. Guys, take control of your life.
Right. And be okay doing you first.
Mhm.
We we've talked about this too. Women tend to put others first, and on an airplane
Mhm.
when you got to put on a mask, that you're supposed to put your mask on first, not the other people's mask.
Absolutely.
So put your oxygen on first. Find your unique you. Find what you're supposed to be doing. Do it. Enjoy doing it. And if you don't know, well, I'm not quite sure, you don't have a vision yet, you're going to need to do what Terry said earlier, which is sit down and write. Sit down and think about
Just
and
relax.
dream.
Mhm.
Sometimes people don't dream enough. They don't sit and just daydream. Good morning, Dr. Tachi. They don't sit and just
Mhm.
daydream and decide. Now, what I've seen, the people who are enjoying life and successful, you know what they do? They do their work.
Oh, yes.
They're not scrolling through seeing what somebody else is doing. They are writing their own stories. They are telling their own stories. They're filming their own stories. They're
Mhm.
sharing their stories. And then there comes time for play where you can watch somebody else's stuff. Again, do your work first,
Mhm.
then go out and play. Write your chapter in a book, then read somebody else's book. Write your thoughts. Do you first, is all we're saying. Make you a priority.
Exactly.
Mark says, when you declare that which you want to be, that which is not that will often show up. This is your opportunity to be that which you declared. Strengthen, build that muscle. This is how you achieve it. So when a thing comes up, you said that you wanted to do A, B, C, and D, E, and F show up. Are you still going to keep up? Are you still going to pick A, B, C
And
when the
if you,
distraction comes?
yeah, and if you never identified A, B, and C, EFG will definitely sit down
Well, hey, we're supposed to be over here today.
and take up all the oxygen in the room because you didn't take the time to get somewhere, get quiet, and figure out what your priorities are for you. Why? How come we can always figure out the priorities for other people? How many times have people sat around and said, "Well, she ought to be doing this, and he ought to be doing that, and if I had blah blah blah, I would." Meanwhile, their own stuff is a hot mess.
Right. But I'd like to applaud Dr. Tachi and Mark and all of you who are listening who have gone to the front of your own line. Indie Soup is on its way. Just saying, people. And Mark at Ask Mark Ward,
Yeah.
he's
Mhm. I wonder if we can get this to.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go, guys. We're celebrating you.
Yes, because they are doing their thing, and they stop in and watch the work of others,
Good
but they're
morning, Maureen.
doing their
Mhm.
own thing. Maureen is another woman who's um, when you're first starting out, you're kind of looking around the room trying to see how to do this thing.
Mhm.
But after a while, you have to start doing the thing, start making the calls and writing the chapters and moving forwards. Mark says, if you say I'm patient, the circumstance that would ordinarily trigger your impatience will show up. This is a gift. You can only become patient if you choose patience when challenged.
Mm.
So you're going to your
You're gonna have an opportunity.
yes for your you're going to have an opportunity to choose what
Mhm.
you said you wanted to do. There's something that's going to challenge you, and you can continue, or you could just say, oh, well, maybe I ought to do this. There's a lot of people who have stopped doing their own thing because they decided to follow something that they saw. There's a trend happening, like you talked about with the pumpkins on the porch. There's a trend. And so, people started following the trend instead
Mhm.
of following their heart, if I could say it that way. Follow your heart, not the
Take
trends.
take your own path.
Right. And uh, just do you. I
Yeah.
know it could be a little different, and it could be a little scary. It
Mhm.
could be lonely
And
because
it can be the same. Just make sure that that's what you want.
right. And what I'm saying is when you set out to do you, and when you might need to sit down and figure out who you are. And once you've
Exactly.
got that and you start moving forward and doing you, everybody's not going to like you. It's okay. You don't like everybody either. So that's okay. Who are you? What do you want to do? Are you doing you because you enjoy doing this? Is this your work that you're doing? Is this your vision? Is this your daydream? Is this something you decided for you? Or are you following the herd?
Exactly.
And you talked about that earlier in our conversation about following the herd mentality. Everybody's reading this article. Everybody's got a topiary Christmas tree. I don't know, but everybody
Yeah, we're just
everybody
saying. Hmm.
don't be everybody.
Okay. But and if you want the same thing, if everybody has a red dress and you want a red dress, there's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure you want a red dress and it's in the style that flatters you, that you like. You know, some people, everybody might be buying backless red dresses. You may not like your back out, but you want a red dress, get a red dress with the back end. It's, you know, all we're saying is do you boo. Okay.
Mark is saying resist the temptation to be incessantly searching for your way. The path
Mhm.
is not ahead, you're already on it.
There you go.
That's it. You're on the path. Now you just
Be okay
daydream.
with being you and sit back and give yourself some time to get to know yourself.
One of the tools or techniques, well, I'm going to give you a tool or technique for doing your work first is the Pomodoro method,
Hmm.
where you set a timer for 25 minutes, you work for 25 minutes, you take a 5-minute break. You put on some music or beach sound or something, and you lock in for 25 minutes. And that might be a good suggestion before you start scrolling on social media. You do your work, just do 25 minutes, set your timer, get in your zone,
Hmm.
and then take a 5-minute break and do another 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break. And you have given yourself 1 hour working on your stuff.
There you go.
And then go do some other fun stuff, entertaining stuff, and that type of thing. But do your work first. I've been doing that on the things that I want to get done, and it seems like it's always something else coming up, so I can't get it. I'm like, I am
Mhm.
going to lock in. I don't know why they call it Pomodoro or whatever, but I'm going to lock in.
You know, I consider that the bulletin boards. You know how like it in offices and in school rooms and school offices, you pass by and there's actually a real physical bulletin board, okay?
Mhm.
And they post things up there. And sometimes you can miss the bulletin board because you're so distracted by other people's stuff. Oh, so and so's getting to do this, and so and so's getting to do that. And there was an opportunity for you on that bulletin board, but because you did not take the time, you didn't slow your life down and be deliberate about checking in for you, you will miss a life changing opportunity. Slow down, check out the bulletin board. There's something there for you on your bulletin board of life, if you will.
Yes.
And that's why we're talking about getting somewhere and checking in with yourself and putting yourself first.
Yes. So thank you for tuning in for this little tidbit for your coffee stop in the morning on Monday. Thank you. You could have been anywhere else on the
Mm.
planet, but you decided to be here with us. And we are grateful for that and very appreciative.
We appreciate
And
you.
and again, thank you for being a part of the BizChicks community. If you already have not joined the BizChicks community, you can do so by texting biz to 33777, or you can go to bizchicks.net. Either way, we welcome you. Next Monday is going to be First Monday, and we will be meeting up at our meetup at Seasons 52 in Sacramento. And we will also have Terry come in from Pennsylvania. And so join us for that. Going to get that tech working right. Uh, we just want to say thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy your Monday. Go have some fun after you do your work. Do your work first, and then go have some fun. We look forward to seeing you next time. We'll be back tomorrow with TJ. Have a wonderful morning, everybody.
Bye bye, everyone.